All niggas been telling me to do this record again.
Do this record
Man,
again.
let me tell you something. This record is off the chain.
This off the
Balls
chain.
in your motherfucking jaw. Part of the disrespect.
Part of the disrespect.
Let's go.
Taking my time.
Disrespect, fun music. Lady West, she wanna be my private dancer. Stripper anthem, baby. My private detour. Let's go. Can I put my balls in your jaw? Your jaw. Balls in your jaw. Can I put my balls in your jaw? Your jaw. Balls in your jaws. Can I?
That's it. Can I put my balls in your jaw? Hold on, let me focus it up. That's crazy how it focuses like that. I'm getting more hair though. Finna wear my institution hat. It's actually a tough hat, you know. It's not bad. It's a little bit weird, yeah. Oh, I actually like this look. People wear hats like this all the time. It looks pretty fire. But a little bit more covered on the ears, I think. Yeah. Actually, is it like this that they wear it, right? Well, we got some learning to do today. We got to get past this math class. We got to finish listening to podcast and continue formulating arguments for second essay. I got a 96 on my first essay. Pretty good. I saw a lot of mistakes though, so we'll be fixing those. I had originally known the mistakes, or I knew about the mistakes before sending it in, but I just wanted to get some feedback on that. And I got some feedback for those mistakes, and I got some new feedback. It wasn't like I turned it in knowing it was bad, though. I knew it was a good essay, but I definitely could see afterwards where improvement could be made. So, second essay is coming up. It's still like next week. Continue working on the timeline project. I'm going to work on that tomorrow, so we'll have to do that today. Watch Gilda and finish quiz for Thursday. Thursday's tomorrow, so we're going to do that. Finish reflection for Monday for English. I could do that. After I'm done with the quiz. Mass media quiz, read chapter 4. Okay, that's what we're going to do right now. Read chapter 4. Read chapter 4, lad. Read chapter 4, yeah? It's a fine hat, I'm saying. A little covering. Don't mind it at all. I don't know what's going on. And I put my balls in your jaws. Balls in your jaws. Can I? I don't know why this is so damn soft. Oh my gosh, she's so fine. Bro. Where's chapter 4? Chapter 4. Except it went from chapter. Bro, I can't stay with this fucking baby. Can't stand that baby, man. I swear. I can stand her. Damn. She cries. This flipping baby, yeah. I can't stand this flipping baby, yeah. Part 2, Chapter 4, Books, The Birth of the Mass Media. This guy is from, where's this guy from? This guy used to be in my history lessons all the time. I'm about to scream because this baby is so loud. Okay, cool. Put this in here. Can't hear anything, lad. When John Green first started publishing, the young adult bestsellers were science fiction on the line. Were science fiction and fantasy that dystopias with the fate of the world on the line. Green novels are different. They are more personal, typically involve a bright, troubled teenager, and feature a lead female and character who could be described as a manic pixie dream girl. The author was not an immediate success. Green's first book, 2005's Looking for Alaska, was a somewhat biographical novel that was not a bestseller, but did win the Prince Award, a major prize for young adult fiction. This was followed by several more titles that helped grow a group of committed fans. In January 2012, Green became a literary star with the publication of a story of romance between two teen cancer patients called The Fault in Our Stars. I think I've seen the movie. I definitely have not. Definitely saw it on pop up on Netflix or maybe even at the movie theater. No, I definitely watched the movie. She's so fine. Lucas was a huge success, spending 124 weeks on the New York Times bestseller. I swear, every book is a bestseller, or at least New York Times bestseller. That's what it seems like, or the popular books written by popular people. Maybe because they're good, but I don't know. Every book seems like it's a bestseller. 43 Weeks is the number one young adult book. To be fair, Children's a young adult bestseller lists tend to be more stable than those featuring books for adults. It's also at the top of the Amazon bestseller list based on pre-orders 6 months before it was released. Neil Green helped make that happen. It's a really way to. 307 million. Wow, this is a high school drama teacher.
¿Viera, Julián, cómo me dejó?
¿De qué, mamá?
¿De quemado?
La cara.
Sí.
Que no estás acostumbrada al niacin, tal vez.
Ah, tiene niacinamida, va. Por eso, tal vez.
Susanna, a high school drama teacher, and 4 of his students adapted the book into a stage play with Green's permission that was produced in 2019. That's not enough. Elon Musk, SpaceX Reusable Rocket Company, has named its satellite-based broadband internet project Starlink in honor of the fault in our stars. The Fault in Our Stars. It's a really nice name. In addition to having best-selling novels and hit
¿Y supuestamente para qué vas a rentar un domicilio?
No sé qué pensará ella, no, es que yo le dije la tienda, yo me la tengo que llevar, no me sacar la tienda de ahí. Pero yo me traigo la de la casa, sí, mi troca con una raya.
Explicarle entonces.
No, le voy a decir que eso tiene que darle una raya, le voy a decir que le voy a tirar voy a mandar a
Uno sabe, ¿verdad? ¿Qué vas a pelear por la tierra? ¿Tienes mucha tierra que necesitas?
Ah, bien, como decía Susana, uno quiere trabajar, así es, hay que bajar esto.
¿Y de cuántos metros hablamos?
Un metro para abajo hay que hacer.
No, pero...
Ah, no. eso tiene el ancho del cuarto, creo que es así. Pero es al cuarto y hay otro pedazo, son 28.
Ahí eso no te va a ir a ayudar, ¿no?
Sí, los dos trabajos que ahí me va a ir a ayudar.
OCD.
Pero en el otro,
En el otro es básicamente el de la playa. Pero si te lo dan.
ese aquí me lo va a dar y todo. Ahí, pues me lo dio hasta centavos. Mira, no importa, le algo ganarlo, pero la cosa es que yo le digo que tú haces 2 veces y aquí no vamos a nadie. Eso es lo que nos tiene ahora. Bueno, necesita darme a conocer. Yo ahí le dije, yo vamos a mitad porque por si no me pide cuenta de compañía.
Illness.
¿No se pide?
No, igual, no importa. Porque me va a dar cheque como quiera, todo lo que me cheque. No me conviene hacer un nombre tampoco porque es mucho dinero.
No, ahora ya sabes, ya hiciste los taxis, ya sabes que no te conviene que te paguen cheque.
Como te digo, la mía que ya ponerle.
Because I think it's important for people to hear from adults who have good, fulfilling lives and manage chronic mental illness as part of those good, fulfilling lives. But Green also wants to make sure he doesn't romanticize his illness or claim it as a source of his creativity. I made a way out of myself to not feel stuck inside myself. Well, wouldn't that make you feel more stuck, though? I want to be super careful not to claim that there is some huge benefit to this brain problem I have. Green is best known for the insight that he brings of the teenage mind. He told New Yorker writer Margaret Talbot, I love the intensity teenagers bring not just to first love, but also the first time you're grappling with grief. First time you're taking on why people suffer and whether there's meaning in life. Teenagers feel that what you conclude about those questions is going to matter. And they're dead right. Green's not without criticism for how he relates to teens and for relying too heavily on his well-known catchphrases such as "Don't forget to be awesome," frequently reread as "TFTPA." In 2015, a teenage girl accused him online of being a creep who panders to teenage girls so he can amass some weird cult-like following. Well, accusations are bound to happen, aren't they? Despite Green's occasional setbacks from to popular people at least, and to people who don't do anything, and rightly so to people who do stuff. Despite occasional setbacks from criticism and his mental illness, Green has managed to create a wildly successful career in publishing and on social media, which we will talk about later. OCD is it's not a mountain that you climb or a hurdle that you jump. It's just something that you live with in an ongoing way. People want that narrative of illness being in the past tense. A lot of the time, it isn't. Books are a source of entertainment, culture, and ideas for society, and have given rise to more lasting controversies than almost any other medium. In this chapter, we look at how books developed from a hand-copied medium for elites into popular medium consumed by millions. Society was revolutionized by the development of printing, how the publishing business operates, the conflict between literary and popular writing, and efforts to censor writers. Books and mass communication. Books consisting of words printed on paper were the original medium of mass communication, although the Roman Catholic Church had previously achieved a degree of mass communication through sermons, as discussed in Chapter 1. Books allowed ideas to spread, encouraged. Books allowed the ideas to spread. What? Books allowed ideas to spread, encouraged the standardization of language and spelling, and created mass culture. Books and other printed materials also helped bring about such major social changes as the Protestant Reformation. However, before there could be books, there had to be writing. Writing is thought to be originated around 35 BC in the Middle East in cuneiform, by the way, in either Egypt or Mesopotamia. This means that written language is around 5,500 years old. Spoken language in comparison is thought to be at least 40,000 years old. What? The great advantage offered by writing was that information could be stored. No longer did people have to memorize enormous amounts of information to maintain it. Stories could be written down and preserved for generations. However, early writing was not yet a form of mass communication. Reading and writing were elite skills held by people called scribes. Their rare abilities gave them power within religious institutions and governments, which were often the same. The earliest form of writing was the pictograph, which was consisted of pictures of objects painted on rock walls. The next major development was the ideograph, an abstract symbol that stands for an object or an idea. An ideograph is more formalized than a pictograph, with one symbol for each object or idea. Languages such as Chinese, Korean, and Japanese still make use of ideographs. The major challenge created by having one symbol for each word is that people must learn thousands of individual symbols. For example, literary Chinese has 50,000 or more symbols. Every day, written Chinese has between 5,000 and 8,000 symbols. God damn. Ideographs are often used as international symbols. For example, street signs use ideographs that are recognizable. Imagine a traveler in Europe looking for a place to take a bath. With an ideograph, a single symbol can stand for bain, me in French, bad in Danish, or baño in Spanish, bad, be in French, bad in Danish, and baño in Spanish. Most Americans typically have seen or heard of Egyptian's hieroglyphics. The millennia-old style of writing with symbols be outside of that probably have never read a book. Chinese writings use ideographics, but those symbols are relatively abstract and a long way from being recognizable drawings or something more than a symbol for any idea. Surprisingly, though, it's likely that you've used ideographs lately to send a text message, add content to an uploaded photo, or even an email message. By using the emoji keyboard on your computer or mobile device, a smiling face, a smiling pile of poop, a smiling devil, a smiling cat, an edible munch, screaming face, you get the idea, are all available, plus hundreds more for your messaging needs. It is tempting to think that these emojis or small icons can stand for emotions or ideas, carry universal social meanings. However, the truth is that people often do not agree with what they mean. For example, can consider this one officially this is a praying hand available in a number of skin colors. Some people see it portraying a reciprocal high five. I've never seen that. I study our researchers and people looking at the same emoji and come up with dramatically different interpretations of it. Further complicating things is that each social media platform has its own versions of emojis. I'm not sure about that. I think it's more on the provider that you use. Well, not provider, company, Apple, Android. Further complicating things, consider the grinning face with smiling eyes icon. The icon is quite different. Why did they just put it? Depending on whether you are looking at it on Apple, Google, Microsoft, Samsung, or LG, it says social media platform. It doesn't say company. In 2018, the Unicode Consortium, which establishes the standards for the character sets on computers and mobile devices, published a list of new emojis to include in upcoming smartphone software updates, including redheads and an assortment of skin tone and head. I think they just removed the skin color. It's so confusing. Just keep it yellow, man, or make it blue, or make it colors, but not skin colors. That is such trouble for your company. Just keep it a color that doesn't symbolize or hint at anything. Just keep it a color and not a tone or skin color. What saves you so much trouble? People are so literal. People are so little details that really don't matter. At some point after, there's also a wide range of skin tones to go with natural African American hair, not to mention a lacrosse stick, a strand of DNA, and a skateboard. At some point after 2000 BC, people began using phonography. Phonography, don't be think badly. A system of writing in which symbols stand for spoken sounds, blended for objects or ideas of the writing. The use of phonographs predated modern alphabet developed between 17 BC, 15 BC, in which letters represent individual sounds. Sound-based alphabet writing, which Iliad and the Odyssey. Cool. Once people had a way to record ideas in writing, they needed something to write on. The earliest documents were written on cave walls, rocks, and clay tablets. But these media had limited usefulness. Imagine taking notes on slabs of wet clay that had to be taken back to your dorm room to dry. Something light, portable, and relatively inexpensive was needed. Papyrus, a primitive form of paper made from papyrus reed, was developed by the Egyptians around 3100 BC. Papyrus was replaced on 20 to 30-foot long rolls known as scrolls. Although it was more useful and portable than stone or clay tablets, papyrus tended to crumble or be eaten by bugs. Parchment, which was made from the skin of goats or sheep, eventually replaced papyrus because it was much less fragile. Paper made from cotton rags or wood pulp was invented by the Chinese between 240 BC and 105 BC, before the Common Era, BCE. Knowledge of paper making was brought from China and Baghdad by the Muslims in the late 700s, and into Europe by the way of Spain in the mid 11th century. Papermaking spread throughout Europe during the 1300s, but it did not replace parchment until printing became common in the 1500s. Demand for books. Let me change the title actually because I think the title of saying something like books, how books were made. I think that's a more fitting title. It's more interesting, I think. How can I do that? Okay, actually, never mind. A demand for books. Throughout the early medieval period, AD 400 to 800, most books in Europe were religious. Texts hand copied by monks in the scriptoria were copied in rooms of monasteries. Because of the difficulty of preparing parchment, monks sometimes scraped the writing of old parchments to create new books. It's interesting. This led to the loss of many Greek and Latin texts. Books that had lasted hundreds of years and survived the fall of Rome were lost simply because they were erased. It's crazy. With the rise of, imagine having those books now, how much you would learn from that time period. With the rise of literacy, I mean, I guess you could have copied them before no, actually, I don't know. With the rise of literacy in the 13th century, the demand for books increased. It soon exceeded the output of the monks, and the production of books shifted to licensed publishers or stationers. Books were still copied by one at a time from a supposedly perfect original or exemplar. One title from this era was Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, which is still in print today. The Canterbury Tales. I never read those. I want to, though. By the 14th century, books were becoming relatively common. Religious texts known as illuminated manuscripts were embellished with pictures and elaborately decorated calligraphy, in part to help transmit the message to non-literate audiences. Interesting. I guess it makes sense, though. The development of the printing press. The printing press, I read about that in my high school class. It was I forgot what class it was, but it was like European history, maybe. Might have been European no, I don't know, some history. Printing was invented in China toward the end of the 2nd century. Images were carved into blocks of wood, which were inked and placed on sheets of paper, thereby producing an image. However, woodcuts saw limited usage because materials could not be reproduced rapidly. Between 1050 and 1200, both the Chinese and the Koreans developed the idea of movable type, but with thousands of separate ideographs, printing was not practical. Johannes Gutenberg, 1394 to 1468, a metal worker living in Mainz, Germany in the mid-1400s, became the first European to develop movable type. Although he developed the first practical printing press using a modified wine press, Gutenberg's most significant invention was the type mold, which enabled printers to make multiple identical copies of a single letter without hand carving each. The most famous of Gutenberg's printed books was his edition of the Bible, published in 1455. I would like to see that edition, by the way. It would be cool to see how much things have changed over time. Approximately 120 copies of this Bible were printed, of which 46 are known to survive. Damn. In the 1980s, one of Gutenberg's Bibles sold for $5.39 million at Christie's auction house. That is insane. I feel like it should be more though. for a book from 1455, 5 million is kind of cheap. Typesetting was a difficult task in Gutenberg's day. The printer selected a typecase containing all the characters of a typeface in a particular size and style known as a font. From a font of a from a font or fountain of type. Today, the word font has become largely synonymous with typeface and is no longer restricted to mean a size and style. For example, bold or italic. The printer then took from the case the letters needed to spell the words in a line of type and placed them on a type stick, which looks something like the rack used to hold letters in a scrapbooking. When the entire line had been set, the printer placed it in a printer's frame, which held the type down. Italics were invented in 1501 by the Italian printer Aldus Manutius, 1450 to 1515, from whom the early desktop publishing firm Aldus took its time. By the 1600s, printers could purchase mass-produced type rather than making their own type molds. Many popular typefaces. Cool. That's good. Well, I don't need to know about that.
Que él sí quedaba. Lo primero que iba a hacer era de que los hijos de los hijos, o sea, los hijos ciudadanos.
Books and mass culture. Gutenberg's development of the type mold and printing press signaled the invention of mass communication and some major cultural changes. During this time, culture was rapidly changing from the concept of beliefs, traditions, and ways of life in small communities to a phenomenon that, by reaching a mass audience, had a regional, national, or even international effect on large populations. The invention of movable type brought a major cultural change in the printing of standardized books. With the invention of the printing press, text could be stored in multiple perfect copies. No longer could copyists insert mistakes when they reproduced a book. Printing allowed students to have identical copies of books to study. That's interesting. Before it was literally hand drawn. The printing press also made books available in greater numbers and at a lower cost. At lower cost. Although printing did not make books inexpensive, it did make them affordable to people besides priests and the wealthy, especially due to the growth of libraries. The printing press also made new types of books available, particularly those written in a country's common language, such as German and South Latin, which is spoken only by the highly educated. The second major cultural change happened when English printer William Caxton helped to establish the rules for English, standardized word usage, grammar, punctuation, and spelling. He accomplished much of this simply by publishing books in English rather than more scholarly Latin. Standardization of the English language came about gradually, though. For example, in his journals written in the early 1800s, explorer William Clark notes that he and Meriwether Lewis set out under the gentle breeze. It's not so much that Clark didn't know how to spell these words at the time. There was still no single correct spelling. What was necessary for standardizing of language was putting together a definite English dictionary word. The first edition of Oxford English Dictionary began in 1857 with the goal of finding the origin of every word in the English language. When the authors started the project, they thought it might take 10 years instead of the first edition. All 10 volumes of it was completed. Damn! Alright, bro. Today, the OED has been through editions, several supplements in the 1990s, where it began on an electronic version in the dictionary in June 1988. Completed their most recent updating of the dictionary. Started over again with the letter A. God damn. Each month, contributors of the OED submit more than 18,000 new words to be considered for inclusion. What? Each month? Are you serious? The January 2020 update included several words of new definitions from a range of cultures within the American melting pot. Bodega, a small local shop usually extended opening hours where customers can buy a limited range of household goods and groceries. A convenience store. The word's current usage comes from Puerto Rican-owned shops in New York. Many Americans may get their first exposure to the terms through the movie version of Lin-Manuel Miranda's hit Broadway show In the Heights. That tells the story of the Dominican Republic immigrant in Brooklyn Heights who owns a bodega. Jewish penicillin. Taxi Wallahi. Spreading ideas through publishing. By far the most important effect of the printing press was that it allowed ideas such as those of the Protestant Reformation to spread easily beyond the communities where they originated. Although the printing press did not cause the Protestant Reformation, it certainly helped it take root. And what's even more crazy is that now you don't even have to print them. You can just write them and send them because we have the internet. It's crazy. Martin Luther, the German monk who founded the Lutheran Church, clearly understood how the printing press could be used to spread his ideas throughout Europe. In 1522, Luther translated the New Testament of the Bible into German so that ordinary people might be able to read it. The first printing press in the New World Unfortunately, none of the books from the Spanish press survived to date. Printing in North America began in 1640 with the publication of the whole book of Psalms, known familiarly as the Bay Psalm Book, put together by Puritans who were unhappy with existing translations of the Psalms. First edition sold 1,700 copies. A spectacular accomplishment when one considers that only 3,500 families lived in New England at the time. What? Book historians James D. Hart suggests that some of these copies were exported back to England. During the next 125 years, the Bay Psalm went through at least 51 editions of the colonies of Europe. You can read more about how the Bay Psalm book played a role in the establishment of beating business in New World Chapter 3. Poor Richard's Almanac sold nearly 10,000 copies that year. Per year, actually. Far more to date than any other book at the time in North America. I mean, to expect, Benjamin Franklin. Animal husbandry, science, surveying, and the military. But not everything was of serious interest. In the 1680s, Boston's leading booksellers accepted to order 2 copies of the book The London Felt, or The Politic Whore, showing all the artifices. Okay, about that. Samuel Richardson, Pamela. Published in 1740, was the first English novel. It was a book for the middle class with characters choosing that other people could identify with. Franklin published a colonial edition of the novel in 1744, but it would be 45 years until the first American novel was published. The development of high scale. How many more do I have to read? God damn it. Oh my God, a lot. Like 4 pages. I think I might go get water really quickly. It's been 30 minutes since I've been reading. I'm gonna get water really quickly. Tell me this is not the finest woman you've ever seen. Hope you're seeing it. My lord, she's... Look at this woman. Oh my lord, that dress. Amazing. All right, let's keep going. The development of large-scale mass-produced books, the industrial prosperity of the mid-1800s spurred the growth of cities and the emerge of the middle class. During this time, the number of people who attended public schools grew as well. Education up to the high school level, although still not universal, was becoming common. Mass culture in the United States expanded throughout the 19th century, disseminating widely through penny press newspapers, magazines, Sunday school tracts, and inexpensively produced books. Serial novels, which were published in installments, were popular in the 1830s and 1840s. Charles Dickens published the Pickwick Papers as a serial novel. Serial publication made each section of the book less expensive than a whole book, which appealed to readers and brought in a steady flow of income, which appealed to publishers. Serial novels got a boost again in the 1990s when Stephen King published the novel The Green Mile in paperback serial form. First paperbacks, the so-called dime novels, which, despite their name, even after sold little as a nickel. With heroic action stories popularized by actors such as Bret Hart, and they generally celebrated democratic ideals. Civil War was a big time for sales of dime novels, with copies being shipped to Union soldiers as a morale booster. 1800s saw massive changes on the business side of publishing too. Hand-powered flat bed presses could print more than 350 pages a day. God damn. But the new steam-powered rotary press, invented in 1814, could print as many as 16,000 sections, not just pages, in the same amount of time. So all this type still had to be set by hand, much as it was Gutenberg's day. By 1885 saw the introduction of the light typesetting machine, which let a compositor type at a keyboard rather than to pick up each letter out by hand, thus speeding up the printing process. Once again, the linear type was a standard for typesetting until the age of computer composition. Cool. Computers. We live in a computer world. This is the introduction. The 19th century thus brought the first real mass media that could be recognized today, with books, newspapers, and magazines being printed and distributed in forms that anyone could afford. With the growth of democracy and mass-produced reading materials came from the growth of mass literacy. Buying and selling books. In the 20th century, the writing and selling of books became big business, with huge variety of books being published. The numbers have continued to grow in the early 21st century. In 1995, 1.2 million separate books were available. And by 2005, Amazon.com claimed to have more than 3.7 million titles available in 2005. Imagine this number now. But getting a reliable number from Amazon is problematic at best. The company almost never discusses the specific number of items sold. Derek Haynes, writing for the Fuss Publishing Advice blog in April 2018, tried to do the research on Amazon to come up with a number to estimate that there were 3.4 million Kindle books on the market and 48 paper titles. We'll talk more about Amazon's competitor in just a minute. billion. What? Oh no, they're owned by CBS. Oh no. Makes sense. I mean, that's how it works, right? Drama bookshop. Wow, almost 700 million. It's insane. It's true. If Barnes and Noble really wanted to honor Black history, the company could promote books by Black authors. Simple as that. Yeah. I agree. God damn, this thing goes on forever. Oh. Yes, I definitely do. I wish there was more. There are more than 100,000 new books published every year. Where's all that paper coming from? The biggest superstores for books have 175,000 titles, and there are only about 3 that big. And 100,000 new books are published every year.
Menos, deje de hacer el loco así mismo. Esa es maña la que tenés, deja de hacerlo así. Te vas a quedar trabado, no, un día de esto ya va a salir.
Yeah. It's been about an hour. Hopefully it's almost done. This thing is so long, so extensive, so thorough. Only 10 more pages, man. I'm not reading 10 more pages. I'm fried. I'll be back. Bro, I got clothes, unclothes, unclothes. I don't know why it looks better like this. This thing be falling, bro. Like it don't work anymore. There you go. Yeah, baby. Yeah, what's up? Yeah. 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 Wait, like this. Yeah. This is nasty, man. I'm a nasty person. I'm a nasty person, yeah. It's a nasty person, yeah. Nobody cares, yeah. Brother, nobody cares, yeah. I'm gonna listen to some. No, actually, no, I gotta finish this. Holy crap, that's a big ass mosquito. That was huge. What I just do? Cool, the reading is done after an hour and 30 minutes. Takes a while, man. Takes a while. Just for me to do a quiz now. God damn it. Nineteenth century. I want to say 18th century, actually. I don't really understand that question. Rosalía. Vamos pa que quiere. Okay, so this should be what I have. Cool. Save and submit. Please tell me it's at least an 8 out of 10. 1 hour. Time used. Wait, what? Time used 1 hour and 55 minutes. Are you dumb? I got 4 out of 10. Okay. Penny presses. Okay, it was the 19th century. We got that one right. That one right. That one right. Who invented printing? I guess it's the Chinese. Cool. Okay. Let's retake it. 19th century. Mm. Conservative? Can't believe I didn't get this one right. Printing. Oh, I got all of them right. Okay. Who invented printing? The Chinese, according to Longtail. I don't know how that one's not right, to be honest. What kinds of programming? Sure. It's gotta be the right answer. I don't know if I got this one right. God damn it. Mass media this time. It's not mass media, huh? Okay, what is it then? What's a big media? Shorehead. There we go. What's Shorehead? Alright, last quiz. 19th century. I don't remember what I freaking wrote for this one. The internet provides physical access to products. I did short head, long tail, mass media, so it has to be big. No, I see short head. All right, well, should be correct this time. If not, it's embarrassing. Yeah, cool. Alrighty, so can take that off my list of homework to do, which I just added, so I'm literally at the same amount of homework, I guess. All right, if anybody's here, well, nobody's here, but if you enjoyed today's working with me and you found it interesting, you found it helpful for your own studying, make sure you like and subscribe. And I will see whoever is viewing this in the future. I will see you in my next video, okay? Or in whatever video you watch from me. Hope your day was productive, like mine was, and I hope your mind, your ideas, and your views on the world are challenged tomorrow or anything. I will see you all.